What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another Minecraft story time. I have a good bit of Reddit stories from the confessions page, which is really interesting to read, so I'm going to share them with you while we explore a little bit in this world here. Now, in terms of the actual gameplay, we just finished building my house that we see in the background here, and now we're just gonna go off and explore. Who knows what we're gonna find, and we're gonna do that while we read some interesting stories. So get a snack, get a drink, nothing too crazy, okay, nothing too unhealthy. Root beer in my opinion sucks, so don't get root beer. I just have something against it. But without further ado, let's get into the first story, shall we? This first story starts off by saying, I'm a coward who is disappointing my deceased family. It's time to crack into my narrative voice, okay? Okay, here we go. I feel like a coward. I am worried about spending my eternal life in hell. As well, I am just miserable and have been miserable for a very, very long time. And it's gotten to the point where I'm questioning God, which sounds silly. It sounds insane, little old me questioning God, but sometimes I wonder why me. I've been sad for years now. I grew up in a religious household and I grew up going through school pretty happy. I liked to learn, I liked meeting new people and making friends, and I was just a happy kid/teenager. I didn't realize how cruel the world was. I got my first taste shortly after high school when my mom died. It hit me pretty hard. My dad was never around, and she was the only person I ever looked up to. The death was expected because she was very sick, but it still hit hard. A year and a half later, my sister was hit by a drunk driver and she ended up dying too. I think that might have hit me harder than my mom because it was unexpected and something that could have been prevented. It also left me with no family. I got in contact with my dad, who, like I said, was never around, and he acted like he didn't even care, and didn't even come out to the balloon release my friends and I held for her. I kept pushing though, because I know they both would have wanted me to. I had a lot of dreams and goals that I wanted to accomplish, and I know how happy it would have made them to see me do that if they were still here. I went to go talk to a therapist for a while, which helped a little bit. I ended up taking her advice and dropping out of the semester of school I was enrolled at. Here I am almost 2 years later, and I feel like I'm failing them both. I lost my job in the last few months. I don't know what to do about my living situation. My car has so much wrong with it to the point I can't even turn it on, and my depression feels like it's getting worse each and every day. I struggle to even brush my teeth every day. When I wake up, my initial thoughts are, why couldn't you have taken me instead of my sister? Why couldn't you just not wake me up today? I feel like I'm becoming a bum. I have nobody that will listen to my problems and nobody I can come to for help. I try to find new work, but this area is known for being last in the USA when it comes to job opportunities. But I'm not looking for a good job, just something that'll help me get on my feet, and I still can't find anything. It's very disheartening. I've asked God repeatedly and continuously, pleading with him just to show me a sign. Just one sign to keep, and I haven't gotten one yet. Then I hear the devil in my head throughout the day, telling me to just end it. Telling me to just end everything. Asking me, what do you get out of not doing it? Continue living a miserable life? I feel like I'd be looked at as a coward if I ended things, but I also feel like I'd be somewhat at peace if I did. Would God forgive me for this? If so, I'd be so much better off ending things. But if not, I know I have to pay with it forever. It's such a hard decision. I've tried to talk to my former therapist, but since I could no longer make payments, she wouldn't give me any advice, which seems shitty to me, but I also understand. I just needed to vent. Thanks for listening. Jesus, man. I know that I'm just a random person on the internet, and you may not even ever hear this advice, but I hate to be the one to say this, man. And I know you probably also don't believe it. I was quite literally right where you were pretty recently. It was only about a couple of years ago. And I was where you were. Okay, we're going to get to the next story. I just want to get this off my chest first. I was there. I was struggling with ending things. And my thoughts were getting that dark, as in, why am I even here? Who would miss me? Who would even care if I was gone? What do I get out of being here? What do I get out of just not ending it? And I'm telling you right now, I've had those thoughts. I've been there. I've lived it. I get it. But the thing is, number one, you underestimate. I saw this on a video too. You underestimate the hole that you would leave if you did it. And you underestimate how much pain other people would go through by your action. The best way to look at it, homie, is your book is not done being written yet. You asked God yourself why he didn't just take you. Homie, there's a plan in your life. If God didn't care about you anymore, he wouldn't have woke you up this morning. End of story. If God was done with you, you wouldn't be here. So you're here for a reason. And like I said before, your book's not done. Okay? If the movie has a bad beginning, do you just stop watching it? Or do you want to know the ending? Right? Same thing. Your book's not even finished, homie. You're in chapter 1 still. All we got is the beginning. You just got out of high school, homie. So I'm going to assume you are probably early to mid 20s. Homie, that is only a quarter of your life. You have 3/4 of your life to live. 2/4 at the max. So just buckle down. Try to start finding happiness in the things that you do. Okay? There's a saying that I always used to say. I mean, not me personally, obviously, I didn't come up with it, but I always used to say it to myself, where it's like, nothing changes if nothing changes. And I was where you were, where every day just got more depressing. Why? Because I wasn't making any type of effort to change what I'm doing with my life. Okay? You live in an area that has no job opportunities. Okay? Let's try going somewhere that does. Bigger commute. I lived in Ohio and I was working in Kentucky. An hour drive to and from work. Why? Because over there had better opportunities. They had better jobs. So you gotta make these decisions, homie. You're not a coward for going through life and struggling. God never promised an easy life. He never did. You can go through all 66 books of the Bible. He never promised an easy life. And if you look at all the prophets who followed him, homie, they all received probably some of the worst lives you could get and the worst punishments you could get. All 12 disciples God had all suffered, homie. So just try to one step at a time. That's all I'm asking. One day at a time, one step at a time. You can say, what am I going to do today differently that I didn't do yesterday? Okay? For me, in my personal experience, I was so depressed where I was where you were at. I stopped caring about how I looked, stopped getting haircuts. I was struggling to even brush my teeth, just like it was just crazy how much I related to that story because I was there. So every single day, I made a conscious effort. Okay, today, I'm going to go get a haircut. Today, I'm going to start going to the gym again. Today, I'm going to go out with my friends. I'm going to try and talk to girls again. I'm going to try and go on dates again. I'm going to try, dating and I'm doing all that. Taking care of myself. Try smiling, homie. But I'm not going to keep talking. I don't want, because if you know my videos, I can go on for a while. So that's my little 2 cents. You never have to pull the plug. It's just not necessary when you can do so much to change your situation. That's all I'm saying. Also, if you ever see this, my biggest condolences for what you've gone through. However, your story's not done being told, homie. You know, what did they say? Like, don't put a period where you could have put a semicolon, a comma. There it is. Your life isn't over, homie. All right? You got this. Let's move on to the second story. This one says, I waited my whole life for a chance that never happened. I am a 22-year-old woman who waited my entire life for a chance that never came. I've wanted one thing for as long as I can remember, is to go to a good school. When I was a kid, my younger brother was sent to a very elite private school, one of those international schools people admire. He wasn't great academically, and my parents thought that this school would fix that, would discipline him and shape him. I, on the other hand, was different. I did well from the start, so I was sent to a very average school in the Middle East. The logic was simple. You're already fine, you don't need it. Okay, that's a little backwards to me in this situation, but let's just continue reading, okay? I'm gonna save my comments till the end. Every single day, I passed my brother's school and others like it. It had big campuses, real facilities, students who were pushed to dream bigger, and every time I felt this tight feeling in my chest. I felt like I belonged there, like that was where my life was supposed to take place. I asked my parents again and again, and they always said no. The fees were impossible. We were 3 kids, not citizens, and my dad didn't earn much. He believed sending one child to an elite school was enough, and that was it. Things got worse financially after that, and we moved back to our home country. I ended up in another public school, and again, I knew I didn't fit in there. Not because I thought I was better, I just wanted more of a challenge, more exposure, more space to grow. We weren't poor back home, we were upper middle class, and we could afford private schools, but that wasn't the point. I didn't want okay, I wanted to be better. So I held on to one idea. If I can't pay for a good school, I'll earn my way into one. I worked nonstop and aimed for a full ride in the US of any field. I didn't care which. If I got it, my parents wouldn't have to pay anything, and they wouldn't be able to stop me. But life doesn't really care how badly you want something. I got 94% and a solid SAT score, but my school was so mediocre it offered almost no outside classes, no research, no clubs, nothing. On paper, I looked plain and easy to replace. My parents gave me 2 options, either get a full ride or get into a public medical school somewhere cheaper than Pakistan. I tried both. I applied everywhere, took every exam I could afford, chased scholarships I barely qualified for. Medicine wasn't even my dream anymore. I just wanted a way out. I thought I could change paths later. I didn't get anything, no full ride, no foreign medical school, no scholarships. So they did what they'd always planned. They sent me to a very mediocre medical school in my home country. Now I'm here, stuck. The system is rigid and outdated. It's suffocating. There's no room to explore or question anything. You're just a roll number. And all I can think about is how long I've wanted the same thing. Since I was a kid, since middle school, since high school, a better environment, a better chance is all I've ever wanted. I did everything I was told. I studied, I obeyed, I compromised, and somehow I still ended up exactly where I never wanted to be. People tell me to be grateful and I try, I really do. But some nights, it hurts so much I can barely breathe because I can see the life I could have had and I can't reach it. I don't even know why I'm writing this. Maybe I just need someone to hear me. I'm tired of carrying this alone. Thanks for reading. You know, to give my own little 2 cents here before moving on to the third story, I know it sucks. I really know it does. And the worst thing we want to hear at that time when you're feeling that way is, oh, you just need to be grateful, because that just makes me even more upset when I hear that. So I get what you're saying. However, there's a really sucky thing about life. The sucky thing about life is some people have better luck than others. And what really sucks is you can be the hardest worker in the room and there will be someone in there who gets more benefits than you do. Just because you work hard does not mean that you are guaranteed success. And it sucks. It really sucks to hear that. But there's a quote that I remember. I saw this on a TikTok randomly, like, when you're scrolling at 3 a.m. And this woman said, if hard work guaranteed success, then the donkey would own the farm. And it really, really sucks to hear that, because I worked at a warehouse for 4.5 years. And you know what happened to me after 4.5 years of busting my ass as hard as I could? I'm talking pouring down, sweating. I was working that hard sometimes while managers just watched. Do you know what I got from working that hard? I got let go. After 4.5 years, when they were like, okay, we need to downsize, let's choose which employees we want to let go. They selected 200 employees to let go out of this giant warehouse. And guess what? I was one of those 200, regardless of how much work I put in and how much pain I put in to work at this warehouse, and saying yes, sir, and no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, to all these managers I hated. I worked my behind off and got let go. So you may be the hardest worker, but that doesn't always guarantee success. You have to find what happiness means to you. That's why we can't put our happiness into materialistic things. We can't put our unfortunately, happiness is a spiritual thing. It's not a materialistic thing. You can be the wealthiest person and have 27 different cars. That doesn't fix what's going on inside, because it's a spiritual thing. It's your soul that needs help. And things on this planet doesn't fix what's going on inside, and it never will. So there, you can read all the stories. There's people who got their dream job and still felt empty afterwards. It goes on inside. Okay, let me not, I don't want to keep like rambling, because I know most of you come here for the stories. So let's move on to the third one. This one says, I am a terrible person and I'm tired of trying to avoid it. I watch the P word probably every day. Okay, crazy start to a story. If you're an adult, you know what I mean by that. You know what the P word is. I can't say it, obviously, it's YouTube. I have been toxic about and towards women, and I wish I could just die about it. I'm probably not that bad compared to other men. I've been described as positive in many ways, and I've done positive things I can be proud of. And I'm probably just not seeing the small positives compared to the negatives that disgust myself to the core. I was clean off of the P word for about a year, and I had the same issue anyway. I've been in therapy and I still cannot stand it. Sometimes I feel like I'm bad just like the rest of men, and maybe I just need to embrace it. Half of the time, I wish I could have the devil's tango with a good chunk of the women that I meet. I feel like it's inappropriate and I cannot control what my mind does when I'm around women. I feel disgusted with myself and that I can't even spend normal time with women without my mind going off on the deep end. Am I already past the point of no return, or can I salvage what's left of the healthy part of my mind? Okay, so this is a very quick story, and not really even a story. It's more of a question, if I'm being honest with you. So I'm going to keep it a double cheeseburger with you, homie. Just coming from my own personal experience, the P word and adult films and content is specifically designed to ruin your brain, homie. I'm just going to be honest with you. You got to get away from that stuff. Whatever you have to do, you got to get away from that stuff. It is horrible for your brain. And I don't know how to tell this to you, but the things that you see women do in adult films and adult you know what I'm talking about, in those kinds of videos, adult content, NSFW content, right? The things you see women do in those videos, they don't actually want. That's not how women are in real life. So the thing is, you're consuming so much of that content that you're thinking that's how women are in real life. It's hilariously and utterly misguided. So don't ruin your brain. That's the only answer I have for that. Give it a break, get away from it, because that is not how women normally are. So get away from that stuff, okay? You said you were off it for a year, get back off it, homie. Just get off of it, because give your soldier a break. Women are not like that. They don't want that. The whole world of the P word the whole world of that, including what like OnlyFans and stuff like that, the whole world of that is directed towards men, not women. Okay, that's what the main audience is. It's directed towards men. That is not what women want at all. So if you want to have a better life in terms of socializing with women, you have to learn how to turn that part of your brain off and reconstruct it. All right, I've been there, trust me. I think every man has struggled with it. So just try to get off of that stuff. It's literally awful, and it completely objectifies and twists what a woman is supposed to be. It completely objectifies a woman, and that is, once you get that in your head, that is the worst thing you could possibly do in your head. So let's move on to the fourth story. That wasn't even really a story. I feel like that's more of just like I mean, to be fair, I am on confessions, so it's a bit of a confession, so I respect that. This next one says, I'm 28 and a male. My looks don't match my personality, and it's turned me toxic unintentionally. Hello, this is gonna sound cringe, but bear with me. Oh, we're ready, big dog. I've always been traditionally attractive, and I've been told it my whole life. I get called hot and especially pretty for as long as I can remember. Well, good for you, big dog. I got ignored my whole life, homie. Good for you, dude. But I'm just joking. It's all love. I say with a side eye. It's all love. I'm not a big fan of being called pretty as a man, but it's the word I get called the most by a substantial margin. I like to think I'm a 9 on a good day and an 8 on a bad day. I often say I have a resting F-boy face. I definitely have the looks that would associate with an F-boy or a toxic bad boy. Especially recently, I just got my ears and eyebrow pierced to try and be seen as less of a pretty boy. Homie, that's only making it worse. You're only making it worse. This got to my head when I was younger, as you'd imagine it would, and it led me to dating girls just because they think I'm attractive despite having nothing in common. Which has led me to being in countless toxic relationships because I'm dating women who seem to hate my personality but put up with it because of my looks and bedroom performance. But my personality could not be more opposite of my looks. I'm actually kind of a loser. I make video games and I repair arcade games and bowling machines for work. I spend most of my free time playing video games or tabletop games like Dungeons and Dragons. I used to work at Renaissance fairs. I'm chronically online. I used to make video game mods and videos on YouTube, and I hate the gym and only work out at home sometimes. Yo, isn't it crazy that people like me have to work out like constantly to try and see a difference? And there's people who just hate working out but just get to be hot. That's annoying, bro. But anyway, I get what you're saying. Let's get back to the story. I'm not an introvert by any means. I'm very friendly and I love being social and talking to people, but most of my hobbies tend to be more introverted aligned. This strange combination of personality and looks has led to my dating life being an endless loop of watching women who think I'm attractive get the ick in real time as they learn about me. I also get cheated on a lot. Nearly every relationship I've ever had has ended because I found out they cheated or are currently cheating. But since I've only ever found myself in toxic, shallow relationships, it has basically given me brain damage when it comes to dating. Now I crave toxic women. And not just toxic, but crazy. The first girl I ever dated in high school attacked me with a knife? Oh my god. And the second girl treated me so bad I ended up in a mental hospital at 17. I had a year-long relationship with a woman who would hit me in front of her friends and in public stores just because I brought her the wrong brand of bread or something. My most recent relationship was with a schizophrenic girl who kept talking about how she's worried she might kill me one day. Then I found out she cheated with 38 different people. Oh my god. This kind of set the stage for me only ever knowing the toxic and crazy and being in an endless cycle of specifically looking for women of the most toxic and crazy. I don't even try to fix them either. I just love toxic and crazy, even though I know I shouldn't. Trying to date girls who share interests with me has been a very upsetting experience because I'm so used to dating mean women who kind of hate me or scare me. Now, whenever things go well with a nice girl who actually shows interest in my hobbies, I'm the one now actually losing interest. After a lot of self-reflection, I've kind of realized I'm so used to having to constantly fight for a girl's affection and keep her around, because I can tell she secretly hates my personality. If I'm not miserable and constantly fighting to keep a girl who hates me, then I lose interest very quickly. This year, 2025, I made a vow that I wouldn't try to change myself or censor myself just to make a girl like me, which I would do often in the past, becoming a build-a-boyfriend where I just act like the guy she says she wants me to be. But this has led me to being rejected or ghosted by literally every single girl I've talked to this year. The current score is a 37 girl rejection streak. Only 2 actual dates scored and neither one led to a second date. I've noticed that as soon as I say I don't do hookups, 9 times out of 10 the girl instantly loses interest. I'm in therapy, but I fear that after a lifetime of shallow and toxic dating, that by the time I'm healed enough to even date a healthy woman, I'll be around 40 years old and undesirable. Since my looks have only ever been the thing people care about, as soon as those start to go, I will have lost all my worth to women. Currently, I'm trying the dating apps, but after months and months of not getting matches, I changed a couple of pics to thirst trap ones, and instantly the matches started to roll in, but it still ends as soon as I talk about the nerd shit or say I don't do hookups. Hell, I even started going to nerdy meetups for card games and tabletops, but it's mostly dudes and every girl there is already taken. Plus, I'm usually one of the oldest dudes there and I just feel creepy and gross. Definitely headed towards single in my 30s, and the idea of it makes me feel so pathetic and gross. Now I'm in this strange spot where I know that my type is bad for me, and any girl that sees me as her type isn't my type. I just overall feel gross and creepy trying to flirt because I know I'm a loser, and oftentimes I get flirty looks from girls at work or in public, but in my mind I just go, yeah, if only she knew I was a loser, she wouldn't be looking at me like that. I get told I look 24 to 26 a lot by girls who are 22 to 25, and it just makes me feel weird about my age and makes me feel even creepier. Basically, I just feel like no matter what, I'm a creepy, gross loser whose only value is being a living pretty boy kink. And that's because that's all I've ever been. They pick me up, have their fun, chew me up, and spit me out. My dog shit personality and addiction to crazy has all but assured that I'm effed up when it comes to dating. Since I'm so addicted to toxic and crazy women, I try not to lead the nice girls on and end things quickly before it gets too serious to the point where it can hurt the girl. But at the same time, I know I should be liking these girls and sometimes try to see where it goes, but my brain rejects it. Every time I just end up feeling so horrible. And every time I've tried to give it a chance or make it work, I end up feeling so guilty because at that point I'm no better than the girls who effed me over. And the last thing I want to do is be a toxic guy who's using them. It's an endless cycle of wanting girls who don't want me and not wanting the girls that want me. And it's exhausting and effed up for everyone involved. I'm starting to think I'm just cooked and should just give up and keep to myself. Sometimes I consider going full Britney Spears and just shaving my head and doing crazy things to make me ugly so that no girls talk to me and I can just accept that I'm doomed to be alone. That is honestly top 5 one of the craziest stories I have read, if I'm being honest with you. Now, I'm not gonna say I understand what it's like to be hot because I'm the opposite and I've never had that kind of luck. But what I will say is I have felt used before. I haven't felt, oh, they're just with me because I'm hot. I am always the nice guy. I was the hopeless romantic. So there's a lot of times where, and even currently, I would meet a girl. She's great. This happened just like a month ago. She was great, awesome. Then boom, after like a few weeks of incredible communication, I never hear from her again. And then another girl stood me up a few weeks ago. So like, my problem is that I always felt like I'm good enough to talk to, but never good enough to be seen with. That has always been my issue. That is something that I've always dealt with, where it's like I meet a cool girl on like some dating app or something. We're talking, we're cutting it up, we talk on the phone, we're having a good time. And then every single time after about a week or 2 weeks, nothing. Like literally just ghosted. And that's happened to me quite a lot. So I know that it's rough, it's a hard thing to deal with. And because I've never been a super attractive person, I've always wondered what it's like to be attractive and to be like wanted and desired. I've always wondered what that's felt like. You know what I mean? I've always wondered that. And I've never even considered it in my brain before reading this story. I've never even considered what it must be like for those people. I always just feel like they have it made and they're living the good life, but I've never actually like thought about it from their point of view. So I'm kind of glad I read this, honestly. I'm sorry you're going through that. Also, real quick, homie, I'm into things that are not super interesting. I'm an electrician. So like most of what I do is working with electric and wires. Do you think a girl wants to hear about how I put a hot and neutral together and then tell you what a breaker does? No, it's a hobby of mine and I like it, but a lot of people don't find that interesting. That doesn't mean I have a shitty personality. That doesn't mean your hobbies are boring. You got to find someone who cares enough to indulge in your hobbies and who finds your hobbies interesting and actually takes like an interest in your hobbies. That doesn't mean you have just a horrible personality, bro. That's not what that means. But as I end this off, man, you're not a horrible person. You've been experiencing pretty effed up relationships and it changed your mindset for a while where that's what you look for. I've been there. I had 2 girls cheat on me, 2 relationships that went awful. And at that time, all I was doing was finding women who were just as screwed up as the ones that I dated and who would screw me up just as bad. My opinion, be single for a while, bro. Work on yourself, worry about yourself, and figure out what it is that you want in a person. Because toxic and crazy, everyone thinks it's great. Everyone thinks it's cool to have this, toxic girlfriend who's like really mean to you and whatever. I know if you're a woman and you're watching this, you're probably thinking, why would anyone want that? Shockingly, there's a good bit of men who do. And I can tell you right now, someone who's dated them, it's awful. It is a horrible experience. So, we can move on to the next story, but I'm sorry you had to go through that, big dog, on some real stuff. This next one says, a romantic interest I've been trying to avoid meeting in person might have recognized me at work and realized why I'm avoiding him, and I'm freaking out. Over the last 2 years, I've gained a huge amount of weight. It started because of depression, and I spiraled. I'm not just a bit bigger, I'm fully obese now. My self-esteem is completely wrecked, I don't recognize myself anymore, and I hate how I look. About 3 months ago, I started chatting with a guy who works in the same building as me. We're in the same big work group chat, and I privately replied to something that he said. Somehow, from that one message, we ended up talking constantly, texting, having hour-long phone calls, flirting, and right away, I kept telling him I didn't want to start anything and that we should stop messaging. I kept trying to pull away because we were getting closer, and I knew I couldn't handle eventually meeting him in person. This is because he has only seen old pictures of me, back when I was a normal, healthy weight and looked completely different. I never showed him what I look like now. I know that's basically catfishing. I feel awful about it. It's pathetic, but I was too ashamed. I kept telling him we should stop, but I couldn't bring myself to explain why. So I'd make excuses like I'm not ready for a relationship, even though emotionally I am. And I really like him. We have so much in common. We have had those long phone calls, even falling asleep together every night. But I knew it was impossible. Hold on, red flag on the play, throw a flag on the play. Falling asleep on the phone is the first thing that goes wrong in every messed up relationship. I'm telling you right now. That is the first thing that happens, okay? I don't recommend it. I don't. Also, How do these conversations keep starting? Because if you're being adamant about we should stop talking, I feel like he should respect that. No, I feel like he should. Anyway, let's keep going because there might be more context. He kept insisting we keep talking. Oh, there it is. Saying we didn't need to meet until I was ready. And I kept giving in because he's so understanding and caring and sweet and respectful. Girl, if he was respectful, he would respect your wishes and not keep on talking to you after you keep on saying you don't want to keep on talking. But the whole time I knew I could never meet him. I learned what his preferences are, and I know my current appearance doesn't fit them at all. Even if he claimed he didn't care, I would still care. I could never let him see me like this. I'm so ashamed of myself. I'm terrified he'd be just as disgusted as I am. Either he'd reject me, or he'd be hurt that I wasn't honest, or he'd pretend it didn't bother him because he's too nice. None of which I want. And honestly, I don't want to expose my body in its current state to anyone. I can't even look at myself in the mirror anymore without feeling sick. Even if I wasn't fat right now, even my skinny version didn't have the attributes I know he desires. So me and him being together either way is just impossible. In my old pictures, I always wore baggy clothing and nothing revealing, so he couldn't see what was underneath. But of course we're still talking and it's gotten serious. He keeps saying he's staying, that he's not letting me push him away, and that if I need space, he'll wait as long as I need to. Oh my god, this dude is committed, isn't he? Jesus. Then today, something insane happened. I was walking in the corridor near his section of the building, and he came out with his friend. They walked up to me. His friend asked if I had card access to a back exit, and he was standing right there next to him, looking at me while I answered. I panicked. I didn't make eye contact, just said no, and the second they walked away, I fled as fast as possible. I'm almost sure he recognized me. He must have. Yes, I'm obese now, but I still have the same face, same hairstyle, same distinctive hair accessory he's seen in old photos. Plus, I was wearing a name badge with my first name on it. Girl, I think that did it before your appearance did. I'm convinced he realized it was me and that I completely look different now, and that the photos he's seen are all old. I've been anxiously waiting to see if he messages me saying he thinks he saw me. I'm terrified. I didn't want this to go any further. I mean, I did emotionally, but I knew it couldn't. I never wanted him to meet me, never wanted him to see how I look, never wanted to risk seeing disgust on his face. I can't deal with the humiliation of him realizing the difference between my old photos and my current reality. I just had to tell someone because I am spiraling with shame and anxiety. If he recognizes me, then he finally knows the real reason I kept trying to end things. And yes, I know what you're probably thinking. What a joke. What a horrible person. I've thought of all that myself. I just needed to tell someone. So before I speak on it, she also posted an update down below that says, he just messaged me and asked how my day was going. So a bit of an anticlimax. He obviously did not recognize me or didn't pay enough attention to recognize me. Okay, to start off, okay, first things first, nobody feels that you're a horrible person. I definitely don't feel that. However, I think what needs to be said is you're scared of how he's going to feel about you. The suckiest thing about that is you kind of just got to rip it off like a band-aid. If you were just honest and upfront immediately, instead of showing old pictures, then he could make the decision for himself. The thing is, you don't want the humiliation, and that is completely understandable. A lot of these stories I've experienced myself. Like, I've been there. I gained a lot of weight. I can completely understand that you feel disgusting, you feel sick, and it sucks to hear someone talk about themselves that way, because I promise you, other people do not think of you that way. They don't. It's just you are your own harshest critic, and it sucks, bro. But I'm telling you right now, because you're hiding it from him, you're stripping him of the choice. You're stripping him of being able to make the choice for himself to love you regardless of your weight. Because weight can be fixed. You can lose it. You're not stuck like that forever, right? But the thing is, he obviously is really into you. You guys have the same interests and he loves talking to you. So, in my personal opinion, your weight should not matter that heavily. I feel like he's going to be more hurt that you lied to him than about actually learning about your weight. Okay? Because I sound like that dude from South Park. Okay. But to be fair, you're stripping him of the chance to even love you the way that you deserve to be loved. You're not even giving him the chance to decide for himself. So that's the mistake that you made. I know that you're self-conscious and you're scared of how he's going to act because you really like him and you're scared of what he's going to think. But if he's a good person like you say he is, he should be able to make that decision for himself. That's all. Yes, it kind of is catfishing, but at the same time, he should be able to make that decision. So if you were just honest with him, straightforward, that's all. That's all I'm going to say. And she also put a comment that this whole story is not about weight loss. So that's kind of why I'm not touching on that. Because there's a lot of ways you can fix that and be more motivated and just love how you look. You know, you got to be nicer to yourself at the end of the day. Let's move on. We have one final story for today. And that story says, this is something I just need to get off my chest. Okay, a little ominous. This is the first time I'm talking about this. I am a 24-year-old woman who has suffered some things I shouldn't have in my childhood. When I was 6 to 7 years old, I used to go to tuition classes. The teacher was good. My parents knew her, helped me a lot as I was always someone who liked my own company. I used to go to her house for classes, very common in India. Her son and daughter, who are both 17 and 21, used to play around with all the kids, you know, if it's fun day or game day or whatever. We were playing a game where one kid throws a ball made of socks and other kids have to dodge it. And if the ball hits you, then you're out. It was fun until the teacher's son came over to help me dodge the ball, and I remember this extremely vividly. He stood behind me and started touching me everywhere. My mother used to put me in cute dresses with shorts, but they stopped anyone from seeing his hand under. He touched me in the no-no zone and I tried to wiggle out. I even pushed him and said I don't want to play anymore. He just said that's cheating and made me play. I was so relieved when I saw my mom on the street on her way to pick me up. He saw her too, left the house immediately and threatened if I told my mom or her mom he would do it again. I never told anyone because I didn't exactly know what happened at the time. I never wore dresses or skirts after that and I still don't. When I was in 5th grade, my favorite uncle died due to a heart attack. I was very upset. My whole family was there, and my older cousin's brother, who was 4 to 5 years older than me, did a similar thing that other kid did. Again, I didn't tell anyone out of fear and shame, which either one it was, I don't know. I still struggle with touch, trust, intimacy, etc. I have tried getting help, but it's not helping. Relationships don't last even though I want them to. No matter how hard I try to make it work, it just doesn't. It makes me think I might be the problem or something. I just don't know. I was doing good until now, but it feels like everything is falling apart. I was just called into HR and told that I have a bad attitude and that I don't participate in any game or fun activities that they organize. And it might lead to them firing me. I don't communicate much at work. I do my work and I do it well and they know that. I did notify HR before joining that I suffer from social and anxiety issues. I might not have a job, and if that happens, there's going to be a lot of pressure on me to get an arranged marriage. I don't know how to deal with so much at once, and the past keeps popping up in my mind and all other traumas are triggered. I'm so confused and angry. There are so many things that pissed me off about this story. Like I can't even get it straight in my head. Number one, I feel like I have to do this every time. Like, it sucks how many times I have to say this, which bothers me. But on behalf of men, I just want to apologize. Like, the amount of degeneracy in the world right now, in disparity of men, is so unbelievably, like, hard to fathom, if I'm being honest. It's wild. And in other countries, there's a lot of shit that slides that shouldn't slide against women. But in America, we have things a little bit differently where there's a bit more consequences when it comes to those things. And it sucks that that's not mirrored throughout the world. But number one, you're not the problem. Okay, those people need to be locked up. You're not the problem. Number two, why is that a requirement at work? Why is that a work requirement from HR that you need to participate in fun activities? Are we dead serious? In the big 2-5? Why is that a requirement, or you might get fired? What if you just want to do your work and go home? Like, why is it required for you to do that? Makes zero sense to me. I know that you said you've tried to get help, and I'm so sorry that happened to you. That's disgusting and awful. I could not imagine going through that. And that's why I'm keeping my response on this one a bit shorter, because I am 100% not qualified to like give advice on that. Number one, I'm not a woman, and number two, I haven't gone through basically sexual harassment. I've never been through that. So I'm not qualified to give an answer here. All I can say is that I'm terribly sorry about that from men. Men suck. It's a very well-known fact that men suck. But thank you for sharing. And for everyone who's watching, this is the end of the video. I feel like the next episode I do is I'm going to choose a little more lighthearted stories. Thing is, I don't read the stories first. I always just go and get the stories, drop the link into a doc, and that's it. Because I want the video to have my authentic reaction and my genuine reaction. So I usually don't, read the story first. But I think next episode I'm going to choose some more lighthearted stories. I feel like this one was heavy. This video was heavy. So thank you for watching. Hope you had you had a good snack. No root beer. Don't piss me off, okay? No root beer allowed. That's a awful drink. It sucks. But I hope you had a good snack. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got something out of the stories, maybe, maybe something, maybe you resonated and related to the stories that were told. But if you can, right, I gotta say it, like and subscribe. It's the best way to help the channel if you did enjoy the video. Other than that, I hope you have an incredible day and enjoy your week. Also, disclaimer before we end the video off, mental health is the most important thing to me, period. If you need help, please go and get the help. All right, that's all I'm saying. I know it's easier to just speak to a forum like Reddit and just get it off your chest. That's great. But if you need help and you need someone to talk to, find someone to talk to. Okay? Don't just sit there alone. Don't do that to yourself. All right, I'm done talking. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one, all right?